good friend from Arizona, the sponsor of this resolution, Representative David Schweikert, and I yield him 5 minutes.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem, and my friend from Pennsylvania 14. I got to tell you, being on the Ways and Means Committee and never actually engaging in some of your rules debate, you guys are really polite with each other. But simple question, what are the 2 times in life you think you know everything? When you turn 13 years old and the day after you get elected to Congress. And I'm going to argue the arrogance of this place right now doing a piece of legislation like this. Why is this bill, the underlying rule here so dangerous, and why this resolution actually fits this? You're basically, the underlying bill is industrial policy. Let's face it. Some of the scoring saying is this is $400 billion. And it's the politicization functionally of a category of an incredibly important industry. Grants that you saw the president a couple days ago talk about, now you're going to have to come in front of me. Do you understand how dangerous that is for an economy? That arrogance of the political class thinking you understand what the next disruption is. The controlling of intellect, the controlling of taking risk. If you actually gave a darn about American competitiveness, of where chips and who knows, quantum and all the other possibilities of data management, data movement, of processing are going, you fix the tax code, you fix the regulatory code. If you care about China, deal with the Made in America tax, where the fact they refund the VAT, and when we export, they put the VAT back on and makes us not competitive. You also now have to deal with the reality. When The Economist is writing articles that we're heading towards a glut of chips. And look, I'm from Arizona. On the side of my district, I have a $16 billion investment from Taiwan Semiconductor. Down the street, I have Intel. I think they're spending $18 billion. It's coming. But the brain trust around here is we're going to do industrial policy. We're going to control the money. It'll be great for fundraising. And the concept, once again, is we've politicized everything. So think of the debate we've had now the last couple days. Is 2 quarters of negative GDP, well, that's not a recession. Okay, technically it might not be, because the definition of recession now is a committee that's politicized. Could we at least have some benchmarks here in Congress, here in Washington, that we know what the rules are? And I don't mean your type of rules, I mean the rules for society, the rules for tax policy, the rules for how we allocate capital. Because you're offering right now functionally $400 billion of subsidies, controls, management, and industrial policy. Government, why don't you just nationalize the chip industry? Because you're pretty much heading that direction. This is a simple amendment. In some ways, it's actually very symbolic of we can't even agree anymore on what a recession is. Okay, fine. Let's just make it a rule. Instead of making it a committee of individuals that get to express their opinion and their feelings, I would love to actually offer something more complex. Maybe we should go back to the old misery index debates of how many people can't afford living anymore. You do realize the inflation from just the last 12 months, my constituents, I represent the highest inflation in the nation. You get to work about 6 weeks without compensation. The purchasing power of your life has crashed so much, you now work a month and a half for free. This is the brilliant policies this place has brought. It's time we actually start to set some benchmarks of what the rules are. Simple amendment, just saying, hey, we'll call it a recession when we have 2 consecutive quarters, and we can stop the politicization of everything here in Washington. And with that, I yield back.
The gentleman from Arizona yields. The gentleman from